Transgender athletes in women's sports. It's a hot topic, sparking debates across locker rooms, courtrooms, and kitchen tables. On one side, we hear calls for inclusion and equality. On the other, concerns about fairness and the integrity of women's sports. Where's the line between supporting transgender rights and protecting the hard-won gains of female athletes? Let's unpack this, folks. This isn't just about trophies and medals, it's about the very essence of what it means to compete, to push boundaries, and to celebrate athletic achievement. But what happens when those achievements are overshadowed by questions of biological advantage? Is it fair for women to compete against someone who is assigned male at birth? We've seen this debate play out in real life, from high school tracks to Olympic podiums. Remember the case of the weightlifter who shattered women's records, or the female boxer seriously injured by a transgender opponent? These stories highlight the complex realities of this issue. So buckle up, because this conversation is far from over. It's about navigating the intersection of gender identity, athletic competition, and the law, and it demands our attention, our empathy, and our willingness to listen to all sides. Let's talk about the human side of this debate. For transgender women, competing in women's sports is about more than just winning. It's about being seen, affirmed, and given the same opportunities as any other woman. Imagine being told you can't play the sport you love because of who you are. That's the reality for many transgender athletes. Denying them access to women's sports can be incredibly isolating and send a harmful message that they don't belong. Proponents of inclusion argue that transgender women are women, full stop. They deserve the same rights and opportunities, including the chance to compete according to their gender identity. They point out that sports can be a powerful tool for self-discovery, confidence building, and fostering a sense of community. To deny transgender women these experiences is to deny them a fundamental part of what it means to be human. Now, for the flip side, critics argue that while inclusion is important, it shouldn't come at the expense of fair play. They point to biological differences between men and women, particularly when it comes to muscle mass, bone density, and lung capacity. These differences, they argue, give transgender women a competitive edge that's hard to ignore. Imagine a young woman training her whole life only to be beaten by someone who went through male puberty. Is that truly a level playing field? Critics also worry about the potential for abuse. What's to stop someone from exploiting the system, claiming to be transgender just to gain an advantage? These are legitimate concerns that deserve serious consideration. It's a tricky balance. How do we ensure fairness in competition while also respecting the rights and identities of transgender athletes? Finding that middle ground is the heart of this debate. This isn't just a philosophical debate, it's spilling into courtrooms and state legislatures. Federal laws like Title IX, designed to protect against sex-based discrimination in education, are now being applied to transgender athletes. Some states, like Maine, have policies supporting the inclusion of transgender athletes in women's sports. This has sparked backlash, with some arguing that these policies violate the spirit of Title IX and put female athletes at a disadvantage. The Biden administration has signaled its support for transgender athletes, but the issue remains deeply divisive. Lawsuits are popping up across the country, challenging state policies and demanding clarity on how to navigate this complex legal landscape. One thing is clear, this conversation is far from over. It's a conversation about fairness, equality, and the very meaning of sport, and it's a conversation that requires empathy, understanding, and a willingness to listen to all sides.